YouTube. If you enjoy his talk today, share it with people. And you can go to his website. Wes has been doing this stuff for a long time. Wonderful apps to share for his numerology, performing at a heart level with individuals and teams. He was a realtor for 30 plus years, which is close to my heart as a mother. My mother was 30, 40 years in that game. But we're so blessed to have him. He's got many clients that wanted deep numerology readings and consultings about the results. And he's delivered approximately 5,600 readings like this. It's quite a thing. And I tell you, after the years of hearing Wes here, every time I see 1111 or different things and stuff, I don't know if I should duck or if I should open my heart. And it's tough to understand some of this stuff. But I think through our talk today and experiencing a little bit of openness, we will enjoy Mr. Wes Hamilton. Lake Harriet, please welcome Wes.
All right. Well, thanks, Neil. Told everything I know about me. You said it right there. Everybody knows. So thanks for coming out. It's challenging to come out in Minnesota cold weather like this. Lori and I, my wife Lori and I, were in Mexico for the last 2 weeks trying to get warm. It was cold in Mexico for a couple days. Not a fun thing. So today I want to share some insights about what the numbers are telling me. A lot of people have spiritual guides and angels. I have numbers. They talk to me. And after I started studying numerology for many years, the numbers actually do talk to me. They share with me their information, their insights, and what's going on in the world. So did anybody feel the shift when we moved into 2025? Anybody raise your hand that felt a little bit of a, oh my God, what's going on? Last year we were in a 8-year. 2024 is an 8-year. And Kim, she's an 8, so she should have been thriving last year. Last year was all about manifesting and learning how to take care of what your needs are by putting your thoughts into it and then doing the work to get there. This year, 2025, is a 9-year. And a 9-year is a gift and a challenge, just like every number. But a 9-year has a lot of work to do with your emotional body. Why? Because in a 9-year, you're being asked to let go of all the things that you've been feeling bad about, guilty about. You've been trying to work on things that you didn't get done. You've been trying to help people that don't want help. In a 9-year, it's time to let go. I write a forecast every month, and the message for this particular year was complete and release. Complete everything you've been working on for the last 8 years. Wrap up your projects, wrap up your relationships, wrap up all those things you said you were going to do. Because in a 9-year, the challenge part for us who care about things is to let that emotional tie go. So when you start letting things go, you feel like, oh, I can't do that. I got to let this happen yet, and you wait. But the simplest way I can explain letting go in a 9-year is clean the closets out. You got clothes in there you haven't worn for years. I do. Clean them out. Your house. Get rid of some old furniture that you got from your great-grandmother that really doesn't fit in there anymore. Your garage. I still have things in the garage that need to be cleaned out. But this whole year, you got time to let go of all that stuff. So each month, the energy shifts on us. So January, of course, is a 1 month. It's our first month. So in 2025, now that you're going to be completing things and releasing things, in a 1 month, it's like getting clear on what's important to you and what's not important. Actually, if you create a vision board, anybody create a vision board here? Raise your hands. Oh, good, I'm speaking to the choir. A vision board's an amazing thing. There's two different ways that Laura and I have taught vision boards. The first way, we look at the year that we're going through. So for this particular year, in a 9-year, we look at, okay, this is a nine year, it's time for me to let go and complete things. So on the vision board, what kind of pictures get me excited about letting go of something? So we'll put a bunch of pictures on there for that. There's another way to do it that you let your subconscious guide you and go through pictures on the internet or whatever excites you. That it's important that whatever that picture's talking to you, you don't know what it's about other than it's a pretty picture or it's interesting. We put those on the vision boards. And Laura and I have taught classes for many, many years on working with your subconscious mind to teach you about your vision board. And I really like that one the best because our subconscious mind has some access to where our life's going. Our conscious mind doesn't always know what's going on. We have to figure it out or have an experience. When you put pictures on your vision board from your subconscious mind, throughout the year, you're going to discover, oh, that's what that picture means. A good friend of ours, who's done vision boards with us every year, she loves jewelry. And Arlene is her name. And she had her vision board filled with jewelry and travel and all that kind of stuff. And this is many years ago. And I believe it was a 9-year, if I recall. And she and her husband hired me to, as a realtor, to go out and find them their perfect house. They wanted a couple of acres. He liked to garden. She wanted a beautiful home because she likes to decorate. So we looked and looked and looked, weeks and weeks. Finally, we found the perfect spot. I said, okay, I think your dreams come true. Do you want to make an offer tonight or do you want to think about it? We're going to think about it. I thought, wow, they found their dream home. They're going to maybe let it go. Nobody else going to buy it. So they went home. They called me the next morning and said, we're not going to buy the house. We're getting a divorce. What? Yeah, we bought a bottle of wine. We don't drink. We bought a bottle of wine. And that started the conversation, and we're getting a divorce. The good news is you can sell our house for us and buy us a new house. So now I got 3 houses to work with. I'm happy about this divorce thing. But it was interesting because on her vision board, in all of her jewelry, she had a beautiful wedding ring on there. And when she looked at it closer, it had a crack in it. And she showed us that. She's like, oh my God. My subconscious mind knew I wanted to be out of this marriage. But I didn't know. So that's one of the things a vision board can help you understand. Many years ago, I was excited, this is quite a while back, when these new modern cell phones, you know, the kind that don't hang on the wall. I'm old enough to have one hang on the wall. So I wanted one of these fancy cell phones and it's a calculator and all that kind of stuff. So I put that on my vision board. And my car was kind of old and not doing so well, so I thought, I want a newer car. So the interesting thing is, within a couple of months, I had one of those fancy new cell phones and a newer car. It's like, wow. And I looked at the picture and it was exactly the kind of car I wanted. And it was exactly the kind of phone I wanted. So there's two ways of doing these vision boards. And in a 9-year, you got to be really mindful about what do I want and what don't I want. And if you're going to put things on a vision board to let go of, it might be pictures of struggles in a relationship. You might want to let go of a house that you want to move somewhere else. So find things that are going to give your brain something to work with. And if you decide just to tear out pictures, you might find yourself tearing out pictures of faraway places, because one of the fun things about a 9-year is you'll want to travel more. The 9-year is what we call in numerology a year to remember you're a very old soul and you came here to have a human experience. And what am I doing to have that experience? So 9 years got a lot of good information about where you're going in life as far as developing your creativity. You want to be traveling more. You want to be looking at, I think, books and movies that help you remember more about the bigger picture of life, because the 9 is the final circle. We humans go through 1 through 9 cycles. And when we get to a 9, it's kind of like graduation day. It's, if you remember graduating from high school or college or wherever, it was a big celebration because you made it. But then what do? So many people graduate, kids that I've done readings for, graduate from college or from high school, and they've gotten their grades up to where they want, but now they don't know what they want to do. So they come and say, maybe you can help me with my numerology to help me, where am I going in life? Well, I can do that with them, and I give them some ideas. But in a 9-year, like we're all going to be in, what is it that you want to let go of so you can move forward? I do a lot of different readings with people that feel like they're trapped in a career, but it doesn't fit them. And oftentimes, it doesn't fit their numerology, or what I call your destiny in life. You don't have to quit the job to the career that you like, but you do need to look at it from a different perspective. So Lori and I have created an online program that's going to be released in a few more days about, in a 9-year, if things aren't working out, what do you need to do? And we call it the intentional 2025. Always think about where you're going next before you let go of what you're wanting to let go of. And we talk about the different steps or grades or amount of work you've got to do to get to that next level. So in that particular program, you might want to just tweak something a little bit. Maybe your career isn't quite what you want, but maybe you could just move it over a little bit to look at it differently. That's just a little tweak. Maybe in a career you want to do something, you like the company that you're working for, but you don't like the position you're in, so that would be a little bit of a twist. Maybe you're going from sales and marketing into travel and new projects that you're implementing throughout the world of the United States. So that'd be a twist that's more than what you've been doing, and it gets you to do more of what you want to do. And then there's the third one where you got to get rid of that particular company and go to a different company. Your chart, your destiny cards are really accurate. Your numerology is really accurate. Kim reminded me, she had seen me about 3-4 years ago, something like that. And she's a major manifester in life. She's a number 8. My wife Lori's a number 8. Manifesting comes easy to them once they know what they want. Okay? So if you're a little concerned about I don't know what I want to do next, or I don't know what my timing is, get a reading. They're so helpful. They help you understand this is where I'm at in life, and this is where I want to go in life. And when you know where you want to go, you at least got some place to put your attention. I did a reading for a gal, maybe 10 years ago. And it showed that she had always wanted to be in some kind of a creative field where she could sell things, create things, maybe jewelry or books or products. She always wanted to create something and sell it. And she says, I don't want to do that. I don't know how to do that. But I do know how to do whatever she was going to do. And I said, well, you can continue doing what you're doing. That's fine if you're happy with it. But think about this creative part. Well, 3 years later, I believe it was, she sent me a text. Okay, I tried that creative thing and I really love it and I'm going to do that. So even though you know what you want to do according to your chart, it might take you and your brain and your emotional body a few more years to figure out how to do it. Once you make a decision you want to leave something, and this is the year to make that decision, give yourself time to implement where you're going. I always suggest to people, see if you can't figure out what you want before you start getting rid of what you don't want. Because once you know what you want and where you want to go, you get excited about that, and it's easier to let go of what you don't want anymore. So this year, I'm going to suggest you look at 4 different areas of your life. Look at your career. Is that career something that's really working for you? And in 2019, I had, it was a 9 personal year for me. And my numerology said, you're done being a realtor. Like, really? That's what I do. You do, but you don't anymore. Okay. I got to believe what I'm teaching and selling, right? So I shut down my real estate business that I had had over 30 years. Shut it down. Like, wow, what am I going to do now? Hey, that part-time thing I was doing with numerology readings and coaching and teaching meditation, helping people find their way in life, maybe I could get that going. So I kind of started letting people know that's what I'm going to be doing full-time now. So within 6, 8, 10 months, whatever it took, I brought up my career earnings and income really close to what I was making in real estate. It's like, wow, I guess when the timing's right, do it. Because who could have ever imagined somebody doing a reading could make as much money as somebody selling a house? Well, it takes a lot more readings to get the price of a house. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is we go through 9-year cycles. We are in what I have learned is what we call a century cycle. Century cycles are every 100 years. And there have been 240, 244, 6, 244, it adds up to a 9. I'll remember when I get home. We've had a lot of century cycles going on. And what's a century cycle about? A century cycle has a lot to do with our global consciousness. It's the energy of all humans, whether we live here or other countries. there's a grid work of consciousness out there that we're all connected to, whether we know it or not. A century cycle sets up a tone or a vibration for us to start paying more attention to. So, since day 0 up to 2025, we have been in 244 century cycles is? 44, I'll remember it. Anyway, right now we are in a transition moving from what astrology calls the Piscean age, and we're going to be moving into the Aquarian age. And numerology keeps track of it each year, but each century also. And what we're moving into is totally different than the last 2,000 years. The last 2,000 years, we as humans have trying to find our own identity. We're trying to understand this is mine, that's yours. A lot of separation going on. We have been learning about manifesting. How do we get what we want? And it's been a good thing. We've learned how to survive, take care of ourselves, be independent, care for other people, help them when they need it. But mostly it's the energy of what I call the word I. I can do this. I know how to do that. This is mine, that sort of thing. That's what the first 2,000 years have been about. And the wars and the conflict all have lots of proof that that's exactly what we've been doing, trying to take over each other's countries, and still going on. And these century cycles don't stop on a Thursday and it starts new on a Friday. It takes several years to get this done. And because I study the numerology so closely, and I'm watching this moving from I into the Aquarian age of we, because the next 2,000 years we're working on being more humanitarian. This last 9 years, we're in the ninth year of the 9-year cycle. This last 9 years, we've been doing our darndest to get to enjoy each other, to help each other. And on the internet, especially Facebook, my favorite news source, I see a lot of little videos where people are helping each other do things. So that's starting in our consciousness, in our debates for who's going to be president, the one side, the Republicans, had a lot of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that to get us where we want. And then the Democrats talked a lot about, we're going to do this, we're going to work together. So I could see how that is transforming from I to we. And it's going to take several more years to get that done. And what I wanted to let you know about that is we're in a major transition. Greg Braden's written some articles and books about it. We go through these 26,000 year cycles. And we've just completing 13,000 years of falling asleep and forgetting who we are. This last several years, since 2000, we're starting to wake up and remember who we are for the next 13,000 years. So we're in that transition, and many of the articles I've read say this is the greatest transition since humanity's been recording history. And that's what people are feeling right now. There's such a change going on from what we've had to what we're going to be. But a 9-year brings up a lot of emotion. The 9-year deals mostly with our emotional body, dealing with the fears. I don't want to let go of that. I can't deal with that. I might lose control. We think of things we aren't going to have anymore. if you can keep your mind focused on what you want instead of what you don't want, even though it's a 9-year to get rid of things, you'll find yourself processing easier into the next 9-year cycle. So in 2026, we start a new 9-year cycle, and that cycle is about the we energy. We're starting our next century cycle with becoming more humanitarian, helping each other. And what we're trying to do is have a collective consciousness of peace and goodwill and that sort of thing. And it probably won't happen, probably take another 2,000 years to get that happening. But in today's theme, what Gary has set up for is Let Your Light Shine. This is where all of us can think about what we want, activate that heart energy we have, and start sharing it with everybody that you meet and talk to. I teach a meditation class. I've been teaching it for years called Awakening Your Light Body. It changed my life, so I went to California and Oregon and worked with the teachers who created it, and it's an amazing process of raising your frequency, your vibration, so that your light's always turned on. And when your light's always turned on, you affect people wherever you go. And I would suggest you find some form of meditation and do that frequently if you can. Lori and I do it just about every day for 20, 30 minutes to keep the light burning. You got to keep your energy up because there's so much going on as far as sad news or bad news that if you listen to that stuff, you'll get your vibration lowered out. And what you want to do to keep your light shining is to keep your vibration up. And you keep it up by maintaining your connection to your higher self, your purposeful self, your God self. And journaling is another good way. When you're journaling, you're getting rid of a lot of worrisome thoughts. So just journal them out, let them go, forget about them. The meditation will bring you back up. So in a 9-year, one of the things you want to let go of is being lazy and not keeping your own energy field to a high vibration. What you do want to do is start working into that next century cycle and start doing things that's going to keep you bright and shiny, keep your light shining. You want to do some things that helps you remember who you are. Because we are all spiritual beings walking around in these human bodies, either trying to thrive or trying to survive or do what we can to get to where we want to be. It's a big year. So there's 4 areas of life that Lori and I have identified. We've had our career. I talked a little bit about that. Relationships. Relationships is the next piece. This year, look at the relationships that you've got. Some of them are there to support you. Some of them there just want to use your energy so that they feel better, but then you don't feel so good. So take a look at which relationships you don't need to keep helping, that all they want to do is get your energy. So that's one thing. The thing you probably will struggle with is you've been helping these folks, family members, friends, for years, but they haven't done anything to get themselves moving forward. You've been doing all the work. It would be a good idea for you to maybe let those folks find someone else to help them, because all they're doing is wearing your energy out, and that's not your purpose in life. So in relationships, take a good look this year to see which friends are there to help you. And you don't have to just say, I'm never going to talk to you anymore if those are, but just don't spend so much time calling them every day or every week to try to cheer them up. There's so many people that just need somebody else's energy, but they don't know how to create their own. So watch your relationships this year. Your health. This is a really good year to start taking better care of your health. Last year was an 8-year, which is about manifesting. So what did you manifest? Did you manifest a good, healthy body? Or did you manifest more things that took your time and energy so you didn't get enough time to rest and recuperate and meditate and that sort of thing? Take a look at your own personal year, because even though globally we're in a 9-year, we're all individually in our own personal year based on the day you were born. It's kind of like a calendar. Whatever year you start with that you were born, set your own timeline up. So last year I was in a 4-year, this year I'm in a 5-year. So in a 4-year, depends upon the different ways you add the numbers up. It could be a 4, it could be a 13-4, or 22-4. Depends upon which way us numerologists add it up. So the 22-4, for me, it was a really good sign because that's my destiny number. And I decided I'm going to do my best to continue developing programs for myself to help people find themselves. And I did. I've created a couple more programs. The 13-4, which is a challenge with health issues, I discovered I have cataracts. Well, those aren't so much fun as anybody had cataracts? Or yeah, Ella knows. Your vision starts getting blurry. So then you go to the doctor and say, I need cataract surgery. That's what I did. And the doctor says, well, you can't just come here and I put new eyes in you. You've got to have a health checkup and this. So I've never had a doctor up till last year. All these years, I've just stayed healthy. I've never been sick. So I thought, where do I find a doctor? Lori says, well, you can use my doctor. Like, okay. So I go to the doctor and they take my blood pressure. Like, oh man, your blood pressure is too high. We got to get that down. It's always been high. How do you know that? Because whenever I have to buy insurance or whatever, you got to take a blood pressure. Anyway, I've always had high blood pressure. And the doctor says, well, we can't operate with high blood pressure. Can't put new eyes in. Like, okay. So they're doing their best to lower the blood pressure. And it's working. But then I got to go to a cardiologist to make sure that everything's working. So this 13-4 has gotten a little out of hand. It started last year for me. And eventually I hope to get some new eyes so I can see all of you. Right now you're all blur. I think you're still there, aren't you? But it's an interesting thing how these numbers tell us what's going on. So I'm in a 5-year this year. So that's growth and opportunities and travel. And as I said, Lori and I were in Mexico for a couple of weeks to celebrate her birthday every year. And that's a travel time for me. So good, we're traveling more. We've got a couple more trips planned. Sedona, Arizona, we're planning. So I wanted to let you know that the value of numerology helps you understand where you are at in life, where you can be, what your challenges will be, and your basic numerology stays the same, who you are. The thing that keeps changing is the years, the month, and the day. So each month, of course, provides a new energy field for you to look at. Each year provides individually what you're working on. Lori's in a 9-year, I'm in a 5-year. So we aren't all in the same year. So what is that telling you? Well, we're all in a 9-year. Global consciousness says we're all letting go. We're all raising our vibration to be more humanitarian. Now, my 5 years says, well, I got to make some changes in the way I'm living or doing my life, because in order to keep up with this change of the 9-year, I have to make some changes. Lori's in a 9-year, and she's always in sync with the universe, so she'll have a much better year. And I looked at her chart and it said, wow, Lori, your year's starting off great. You've got a great growth path going for the next 5 years. So get clear on what you want. Well, she likes to travel, so she's going to England. She's going to Texas for a conference in Sedona. I mean, Lori says, I like this 9-year. But it gives you permission to do what you want to do and when you want to do it. So that's the benefit of having your own individual chart. And you can go on the internet and pick out a bunch of different programs. I didn't like the accuracy that I found in a bunch of different ones, so I wrote my own program with 2 questions people ask me. Who am I? Who am I being? And what am I here to be doing? So the program I use is, here's who you're being, and here's what you need to be doing. Simple. So when you have those 2 pieces of information, you can make much better decisions for what you want. Some of our wise masters, Socrates and Pythagoras and Aristotle, have all said the same thing. When you know who you are, then you'll know what to be doing. We have never been taught that I'm aware of, by any of our teachers or our parents. Who are you? We've always been taught, try to figure out what you need to be doing, which is kind of backwards, because each one of us are such individuals with our own numbers that you would think if one person's doing that and successful, then we should all do that and be successful. But it's not, because we're all wired differently. And your numbers tell you, if you follow this path, this is where you'll go. This will be your gifts and this will be your challenges. So it's important for you to understand that this particular year, because you want to know, if you're a number 8, like Kim is, well, after I've manifested something, what do I no longer need to manifest or do because I'm good at that? What else do I need to learn? For me, being in a 5-year of a 9-year, I have to figure out what changes I need to make. So that's the program I wrote now. I'm calling it My Map. And it's taking what I've learned about myself and about humanity, is a lot of us are driven by our core values. Our core values are the things that are important to us. We all have them. I call our core values the guard at the gate. If something doesn't match our core values, we don't want to participate in it. So freedom is one of my core values. I want to be free to do what I want to do. Why? Because that gives me the ability to be flexible and do it my way. I made a list of 50 core values for people to choose 6 to 12 values that they want to live by. Because if you can identify that core value, then you'll know what to be doing in any year you're in. Because does it match this core value for me? The second part of that program that we put into place is Lori and I created an assessment that measures your why. Why do you do what you do? We call it the core passion assessment. We use it in corporate world to do leadership development and team training and so forth. It's an assessment that, well, we're in a spiritual group here. It's an assessment that my guide gave us. Okay. I sat and channeled information. Lori'd ask me a question. I'd channel the information. She'd write it down. So we had a whole stack of papers. What are we going to do with all this information? And our gal that does all of our technology, she said, well, my mom is a double doctorate degree. She's a doctor of methodology and doctor of psychology. She makes assessments for large corporations. Oh, I'll give it to her and see what she does with it. Anyway, she made it into an assessment, 240 questions. And she said, and we got to test it to see if it's accurate, because if it's not accurate, we got to change a bunch of the questions out of the material you gave us. Whatever you got to do, go do it. And she said, it's got to be at least 70% accurate. Okay. So months went by, and she did all of her work, and she was shocked. Came back in the high 90%. She said, I've never seen anything like that. Well, she's a spiritual lady also, and she said, well, it's not our words. It came from a higher power. Okay. So we had it validated, and it's proven. When you know why, then it makes sense for you to do something, and it makes sense for someone else to come along and support you. The why energy is one of the most important features of any of our goals we've got in life. Why do you want a new house? Why do you want to get married? Why do you want a new car? Why? If you have the answer to that from your inner spirit, all of a sudden you have logic. Okay, my inner spirit wants this. So now you've got your why answered. Now you've got your core values answered. You're starting to get a framework of who you are so you can make decisions. So the third part I put in there is the numerology. In numerology, there are what I call 4 pillars of who we are. It's our day of birth, our birth path, which I call our power number. That's your month, day, and the year added up and reduced to a single digit. We have our destiny, which is comprised of the letters in your name and the numbers. And then your heart's desire. And that's your emotional body, because your emotional body really has a lot of input into our lives, whether we realize it or not. So we take those 4 numbers and put into your map. So now you get your core values, core passion, why. You've got your pillars of who you are. What does all of that got to do with what I need to know? The final part is, and this is the tricky part, what emotion am I looking for to make myself happy? And that's tricky. We've got a whole list of, 20, 30 emotions that people can choose from. Because the bottom line is, whatever we do is to fulfill an emotion of ours. We think it's about a plan, which is what we have. We all have our plans. But when you start thinking about your emotional body, that's really the core of why we do what we do. So in this 9-year, for you to do a self-assessment like that is going to give you an amazing capability to measure what you want to let go of and what you want to hang on to. And I found it so helpful. The first question I asked myself, why do I want to create an IMAP program? Well, it fueled my core values, it fueled my core passion codes, it's totally supported my destiny and my numerology. And what are the emotion? One of the emotions that I chose was empowerment. I felt empowered that I'm able to create my own life based on who I am and what I want to do. And I'll tell you, that's a rare thing, because most people I've ever done readings for feel like they're not sure if they can live their own life doing what they want to do and how they want to do it. I just wanted to let you know that this 9 years is going to be a lot about emotions. And that emotional body of ours, science has proven our head, our heart, and our gut are all 3 different brains that we have. And when you can get your head, your heart, and your gut all lined up, like the MAP program I'm working on, then it's like, wow. Now I have evidence and a measurement tool of why I want to do what I want to do. So think about your year as you go through this year. If you get a chance, get a reading so you know what personal year you're in, what personal month. There's a lot of different measurements in numerology. It measures big cycles. They call them pinnacles. So each pinnacle teaches us something new. And each pinnacle has a challenge. So the pinnacle might be a 1, developing your self-confidence, and your challenge may be a 2, self-doubt. Well, those 2 really struggle when you start working with those. You're confident you can do this, but then your ego says, I don't think you can do that. No, you can do this. So you start working with your pinnacles, and you look at who you are, and there's a story in your numerology that's telling you all the time, here's who you are, here's what you need to be doing, and if you'll take the effort to become who you are, life starts flowing. And if you find a way to connect with your higher self with meditation and journaling and eating healthy and walking and exercise, you're aligning all of your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies. And when you can do that, all of a sudden it's much easier to go through life. So the 9-year is a big transition year. Most of the odd numbers in numerology, the 1 through 9, whatever your number is, if it's an odd number, you're dealing with things on a personal level to gain your own self-confidence and your own self-control. If you're in an even number, at 2, 4, 6, 8, you're working with something outside of your body, a person, a group, a family, a corporation. So the even numbers are something you're working outside of yourself, with yourself. The odd numbers are just with you. So whatever year you're in, that'll give you a good insight to what year, and what, are you working with something outside of yourself or within yourself? All of these things will keep you aligned and keep you on target. Is there any questions? Am I out of time?
We have to do the questions after.
Okay, I'm out of time. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Wes Helmuton.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm inspired,
good.
and truly, and we enjoy hanging out here afterwards. Ask questions, open up the door, and enjoy hanging out with our wonderful community. And I had to go double check, but it's weshamilton.com still, your wonderful website. And please do go check it out. I am inspired, and it's very fun to think about. I think we've probably got a lot of questions. I'd like to know some of my number and stuff like that. This is when I would remind you that we are supported by your donations. We have special little Venmo cards, which I have actually used. You can find it in the basket and scan it if you find yourself without any cash. That's certainly convenient. And thank you for coming. Become a member if you're inspired. And now we'll do our offering.
Sing a song. If the sun refuses to shine, I don't mind. I don't mind. If the mountains fill in the sea, let it be. Now if a 6 turned out to be 9, oh, I don't mind. Oh, I don't mind if all the hippies cut off all their hair. Oh, I don't care. Oh, I don't care. Dig. 'Cause I got my own words to live through it. And I ain't gonna copy you. White collar conservative flashing down the street,
Where else
pointing
you
their
gonna
plastic
come?
finger at me.
Find Jimi Hendrix.
No, but soon my kind of drop and die.
For the offering.
I'm gonna wave my free flag.
Come forward, John.
Hi! Wow!
Come forward, John.
I couldn't resist opportunity to play Jimi Hendrix.
That's right. I might ask if you can repeat after me and raise your hands. God's perfect love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. Thank you. Now, as we like to do, let's make a circle. We may have to cut across someplace convenient here.
Well, if not too many left, you should probably have enough to go around. We had 30.
If a couple people go way to the back and stretch it around, we're going to make a wonderful, wonderful big circle and join hands. But we got to complete the circle in the back. And Wes will send us off into the day. Please do hang out. Ask questions. Wes is here all afternoon.
For 20 minutes. Okay, well, let's go. I'll take you through a little meditation to help us let our light shine, since that's the theme. So, close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. And slowly let it out. One more breath in. Hold it. Slowly let it out. And one more deep breath in. Hold it. And slowly let it out. Now, in your mind's eye, imagine a bright, shiny sun above us, glowing and shining away to keep us all warm. And behind that sun, there's another sun called the solar light. Bring that solar light down and bathe yourself in that energy. Feel it going through your crown chakra, your third eye, your throat, your heart, third chakra, abdomen, root chakra, and down into the earth. Bathe that white light throughout your body. See that solar light radiating out into your aura. Now, bring that solar light out even farther, 10 out to 20 feet. The solar light is the most powerful light that keeps the sun lit. This solar radiance is available to all of us at any time. So this month, and the rest of the life, and the rest of the year, ask for the solar light to be your radiance, to let your light shine forever, to help humanity become more peace-loving and supportive. And so it is. Come back into the room.